Ted's wife, and that's his granddaughter. And I'm not sure whose mother.
For those who don't know me, my name is Todd Bright. I'm the Colonel of the New England Brigade. We're here to honor a late and dear friend of ours, Ted Urbanski. I have a list of speakers, which tells you something about Ted. Ted was beloved by everybody. I've been reenacting for about 30 years. I've known a lot of people. Ted was a rarity. Ted is a rarity. Never once in my life did I ever hear anybody say one bad thing about Ted. And we all know how reenacting politics worked. Everybody loved him. We all have stories about Ted. Whenever you walked away from Ted, you couldn't help but smile. He was infectious. His love of history, his love of reenacting, his love of family, you could not help but smile. And I remember telling Ted, I'm a history professor, and I was telling Ted about the unit I did my research on, and suddenly at my door arrived a box with Ted's research. And then later on I mentioned another thing I was looking into, and another box arrived from Ted of research. And I remember sharing this a little while ago with some people around the campfire. I think it was at Fort Trumbull. And I thought, okay, I was special. I get boxes from Ted. And everybody's like, yeah, I get boxes too. So apparently, I hope Ted had a share in UPS because he was sending boxes everywhere. He loved history. He was a lovely man. He will be sorely missed. We'll wait for Paul Massey to leave. Our first speaker is Lieutenant Dan Dupree from the Signal Corps. Lieutenant, front and center.
Gentlemen, ladies, those who don't know me, my name is Daniel. I served with Ted for 11 years, and I started at the age of 11. Ted was my mentor, a father figure to me, like my own. Once my mentor, forever my family. That's what I had inscribed on the back of a watch that I gave to Ted the day I graduated high school. He not only helped me produce my senior project on reenacting, but knock its socks off and got a proficient score. Ted was not only my friend, a mentor, but most importantly, he was my adopted family. I met Ted September 28th in 2013 at Red Apple Farm, my first event ever. And he looked at me one day and said, "You're gonna hate me when you're done, because you're gonna be hot, tired, and hungry, but you'll come back." And I did. Ted helped me build everybody from my character, Edmund Burke, all the way to learn to be fluent in telegraph and signal flags. I've spent many hours in a car with Ted and shared many meals, but one meal comes to my mind. This particular event, his lady was handing out cookies, freshly baked chocolate chip cookies, and me being in my youth, I consumed 12. And Ted looked at me and said, "How many cookies are you gonna eat?" And I said, "What? I like cookies." And from that moment forward, my nickname to Ted was Cookie. So every time he saw me, he always had a box of chocolate chip cookies. Hence the nickname Cookie. I don't wish to bring up sad memories because that's not who Ted was to me, but I do have one thing. Not only all these memories with Ted, but not only thousands more. And everyone just as special as the first one I made with him. Every single one. You may be gone from my sight, but you are never gone from my memories. Ted, you will never fade for as long as I'm alive, and neither will this hobby. May you find peace in the eternal gates of heaven. Thank you, gentlemen.
Our next speaker is Wendy Benedict, who's the civilian coordinator for the New England Brigade, and Bob Benedict from the Signal Corps.
Like everybody here, or most people here, knew Ted, what a wonderful person he was. I met Ted over almost 25 years ago at a tiny event in Rhode Island I think there was maybe 12 people. And he was instrumental in sparking our interest, aside from the movie Gettysburg, in sparking our interest in the hobby. We weren't at that time even attached to any unit or anything like that. And he was a welcoming person, very knowledgeable. He was able to convey his wealth of information in a very down-to-earth, engaging style to the public and to fellow reenactors. He was always helpful to us in getting our U.S. Christian Commission impression going, getting me involved with the Signal Corps and so on. He just did so much, and he was always welcoming. Just somebody I'm going to miss very much, my wife and I know many people here too. So, but I know, according to my faith, I will see him again in the resurrection, and I will enjoy his company for eternity in the new heavens and the new earth that is paved for me and paid for me by the blood of Jesus Christ. So I just let's just have a great time. Think of Ted, and yes, this is a terrible thing, but we have a wealth of good memories to go on, and he was just a wonderful person.
Yeah, and the only thing that I want to add is that Ted was always gracious when we would set up, because I would set up as the Christian Commission and they would have the telegraph, and he'd pass so many people to me that I would leave events without a voice, because he was constantly bringing people over and introducing them and helping us, and that's my memory of Ted. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Captain Ben Frail, 2nd Rhode Island.
Thank you all for coming. Much like everyone here, I first met Ted when I first started reenacting in 2003. He was always welcoming to fresh fish, and always taught us young bucks the right way to go about it. Always had that infectious smile on his face while doing so. When I was in 2nd Rhode Island Company D with him, he taught me some of the most important lessons that I'll take through my 19 so far years and going forward of this hobby. And to the point where, last year when our unit marched in the Bristol 4th of July parade, Ted reached out to Ted and said, hey, do you want to march? It's a little bit longer of a parade. It's almost 3 miles. It's in 90-degree heat. And, we had members that were falling out that couldn't make the 3 miles. And at the end of the parade, there was Ted with the national colors, with the biggest smile on his face. This was a hobby that he loved. Much like Dan said earlier, you're gonna be sore in the morning, but you're gonna come back for more, and those are the memories that I will always take from Ted. And the amount of speakers that we have here on his behalf is a testament to what he meant to the hobby in this region. And I hope that we all go forward after this and take just 10% of the enthusiasm that Ted had for this hobby. If we all can do that, then this hobby is gonna keep growing in this region.
Our last speaker is Private Augie Martin from the 15th Mass, Treasurer of the New England Brigade.
I had written something completely different than what I've got in front of me, and it was too sad to read. Today isn't a day to be sad, it's a day to honor Ted and remember him for everything that he's done for each brigade. Each individual here comes away with something they learned from Ted. For those of us who knew Ted, each time you engaged conversation with him, you needed to settle in because it might take a while. His infectious smile and that twinkle in his eye meant you were about to learn something. He was a man that celebrated life every day of the year, whether dressing as Santa for the kids at the school or training the therapy dogs. He was always Ted, the joyful, giving, down-to-earth guy that gave of himself to every soul he encountered, each one better off for that interaction regardless of how many legs they had. He was proud of his service and those who served. He made them feel a sense of pride regardless of just what their petition may have been. If you served, he was proud to call you shipmate. His years in the Navy brought him adventures he would be glad to share. Yet it also brought him in touch with those things, like Agent Orange, that cost him dearly. He never let his plight stymie his spirit or his constant giving to others. He loved this hobby and he served it well. Ted started his reenacting career back in 1999. It's because of him and his constant support and tenacity in teaching, supporting, and offering help and gear, I found the ability to make it as a reenactor. He was a mentor like no other. And I know a lot of you have similar experiences. He was truly a friend to everyone. When I think of my friend, when I put on my wool, I will see his frumpy old hat and impish grin of support around the campfire. He was beloved by his family, his kids Becky, Joshua, Sam, the love of his life, Sue. He was a workforce that left his mark on everyone he met, and everyone he was lucky enough to call him friend. I will miss my friend. God bless you, Ted. To the boys of the 2nd Rhode Island, 12th Georgia, the 15th Mass, and the U.S. Signal Corps, wish our comrade in arms a safe journey, and may he join those who have come before us around the everlasting campfire. Ted was someone who epitomized what a Civil War reenactor is and what we all strive to be. To learn to teach others and to love what we do. To the family of Ted Urbanski, please accept the Civil War Reenactor Award in honor of our dear friend. Reenactors here today have donated a substantial amount that we're going to put in the name Ted for an animal shelter of your choice. And also the Young Brigade will be.
I think we're offering you $500 at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, I just want to thank everybody who spoke, everybody who's here. He loved, more than me. He loved these reenactments, and if he couldn't go, he was always very disappointed. And he called you all brothers and sisters the whole time. And it was, we had to schedule our calendars according to the reenactment schedule. So it was such and such is happening here and then, and I said, check the calendar, make sure I'm not doing anything that day either way. You have to come with me. But I want to thank you all for this. This is beautiful. It's wonderful. And for everything everyone said or thought about him, because he did love you guys and girls, ladies. Thank you so much for everything. Thanks.
Wayne, you wanted something?
Yeah, just a short note to epitomize who Ted was, at least to me. I was in the Navy, Ted was in the Navy, just like Augie says, we were shipmates. I met him probably about 6 years ago, but you meet him once, you know Augie, right away. But we, at the Nathan Hale homestead, for some reason, the artillery and the Signal Corps were side by side. So we hours talking about the Navy. But the point I want to make was that South County, he was going on Monday to have a second operation, and there he was. And then he shows up under my fly, and I didn't get it by UPS, I got it hand delivered. Because we always exchange, what about this ship, what about this sailor, I'm working on this, can you help me? He brought me 2 framed items. One was a World War I Navy patch, and the other one was he worked on the USS Massachusetts, okay? And so he's a signalman, he worked up with the single shot, and there were these little round rings that are attached to the flag, and then you get the hook, and you can haul it up, hang it. He had 5 of those that he put in his frame. He had a nice picture of the Massachusetts, and it said, US Massachusetts, blah, 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 blah. That day, he brought it to me when the operation was happening the next day. You know, the love of the hobby, the love of you all was incredible. He will be missed.
Ted Ted's not gone. We've had these conversations more and more recently. We lose a lot of brothers over the years. Paul Plant, the great Walter Sy, Paul Parisi, Bob Graves. We've lost some great dear brothers over the years, but they're not gone. They're reconnoitering ahead for all of us, and they're saving us a space at the campfire and the great reenactment beyond. Attention, battalion!
Attention, battalion!
Shoulder! Up!
Shoulder, arm!
Present! Up!
Present, arm!
Shoulder! Arm!
Shoulder, arm!
Order! Arm!
Order, arm!
Parade! Rest!
Parade, rest!
Eddie.